Hello, welcome back to So You Think You Want to Coach. This is Durante Polite. So happy to be back with you. My season is over, and so I just want to share some things from my first season at Hood College, but also my first losing season as a head coach. I have some lessons and some things that I want to share, just some thoughts, really. But before we get started, please make sure you like and you subscribe to our channel and also share it. Again, I want this to be a resource to young coaches, just to give them things to think about. Of course, I don't know everything, but with my 13th year, I feel like I have some experiences that I want to share to those that are just getting started or that want to get started. But before we get started, I do want to tell you about this product. It's called the Playbook Journal. So check this video out.
The Playbook Journal is a great tool for coaches and players alike. With custom diagrams and lay-flat binding, you can chart your path to victory. Playbook perfection starts here.
The Playbook Journal. It just makes sense. So yeah, if you get a chance, tell your friends about the Playbook Journal. Again, I think it's a great tool for not just basketball coaches, but as you can see, a lot of other sports as well. So just to kind of talk about my first losing season as a head coach. Now, what I will tell you, just to set up, came in, officially started in July. You know, I was doing some things before I actually started the job, but wasn't able to recruit like I wanted to. So I didn't have the biggest expectations, right, going into it. I knew that we could have a tough year. You know, I told everybody I wasn't promising a lot of wins. I wasn't promising anything like that. But you know, there's this thing in you, if you're competitive, that you're going to find a way, right? And so that was the mindset. The mindset was we're going to find a way. And so we finished 4-21, so not great by any standard. But I really like what we accomplished this year as far as setting a foundation to build. Now, I had coaches that kept, they were telling me, well, it's your first year and, all these type of things. And I'm like, I want to win right now. Like, I'm not trying to build for next year, right? I'm trying to win now. Like, every year I'm trying to win. And so that was my mindset really throughout the year. Thought maybe we could surprise some people. And maybe we did surprise in some form, in some fashion. But, first, winning the season was pretty late into it. And, it was an exciting time. It was an exciting win. And so what I can tell you, though, is that even though this was my first losing season as a head coach, I think I did my best coaching this year. I really do believe that. I'm not trying to play like mental mind games, and I'm not, I'm not talking about moral victories, but I think I did a great job coaching. I think our staff did a great job. We were always trying to figure things out, and I think we will see, hopefully, as we bring in more talent, we will see that foundation really spring forward next year. I think I'm proud of myself in some circumstances because I've always kind of been this type of coach where it's like, this is what I do and that's it. And the players just going to have to adjust to that. And we couldn't do that, right? I learned, okay, I'm going to have to make some adjustments in order to give us the best chance, the best opportunity for us to be successful. And I'm proud because there was a time where that's not who I was as a coach. I remember thinking about I play these scenarios in my mind. I remember years ago just thinking, well, no, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it. And, why would a coach shift this? Why would they change that? Whereas, I'm like, we're going to do this thing and you're going to do it my way. And that's it. And I had to shift and it was a good thing. I think the biggest thing was I played more zone. I think I played more zone this year, right, in year 13 than I had of years 1 through 12 combined, right? I made that shift because that's what this team needed in order for us to be successful. I started recognizing that, And we didn't play a traditional zone. We kind of switched things up because of the type of just the team that we had. We were not in the best of shape, so that's number one. Our half court offense was not good. It was inconsistent, and it couldn't really be dependent on to win an entire game. We scored best in transition, and not transition off a rebound. We scored best transition off of turnovers. And so with that in mind, I just began to thinking like not athletic enough or in shape enough to pick up full court. And we played solid man defense. It's just that we couldn't turn people over. And that's how we scored the best, was off of turnovers, right? So it wasn't that our man defense was terrible. It's just that it didn't help us offensively enough because we would get stops, but those weren't necessarily turnovers. We needed turnovers and to score in transition. And so we went to the zone, and we weren't good enough to like play a regular zone where people can whip it around and we will be there. We had to make some adjustments. And so I just remember, there's a zone that we played at Milwaukee, and then there's a team in our conference when I was at Milwaukee, Cleveland State, who, basically played all zone. And I kind of borrowed some things from both of those concepts, kind of create our own zone. And it worked. It helped us out a lot. We made it where we can't defend a whole bunch of court, but if we can get you in a small area, we can defend smaller areas of court and use angles to take away the court, to take away nice, clean and easy, crisp passes, and really get them into some bad spots and trap in particular areas. So that was big for us. We went through a stretch where we turned over. We forced 150 turnovers in 7 games. And if you saw that, you would think, well, man, they're picking up full court. They're trapping all over the place. Nope. We were getting back, and we were really kind of only dealing with, I would say, if you cut the last quarter of the court, right? That's what that bottom quarter of the court. That's when we really focused on turning up the pressure and using angles to make it hard on teams. And it was a lot for teams to adjust to. And so that was one of the biggest things where I realized, hey, we're going to have to do this, and we got to do it more often and really maybe exclusively if we want to be to compete in every game. And we did that. And so I'm excited to continue to build on that. But I would say, coaches, that's one thing I've learned. You can't always go by the wins and losses. Yes, you want to win, but I'm not even on no what's the word? I don't know, just like ultra positive thing. I really feel like I did my best coaching job this year. I worked really hard. I've always worked hard. I've always watched a lot of film, but I had to make adjustments, and I did that. So now I feel even more prepared going into next year with what we're going to do. So don't judge yourself by your wins and losses, right? Judge yourself by your process, like how you go about it. What did you do to achieve those wins and losses? And what is it that you want to keep going forward? And what is it that you had to get away from? And so, yeah, my first losing season as a head coach, but I really learned a lot. And I think it was my best coaching job thus far. And I'm excited to jump into next year with the things that I've learned, with the adjustments that I've made, and really hopefully to get it going again next year. So yeah, let me know in the comments like how you. Well, one, if you want to know about this zone, let me know. We can talk about it, and I can show you some film on it and how it really helped us out. Especially if you don't have a very athletic team on the whole, maybe you have 1 or 2 athletic players, you can really make it work with that type of scenario. But then number 2, tell me about how you've dealt with tough seasons. I'll tell you, I didn't have the biggest, I didn't have crazy expectations, so I think that kind of kept me from getting frustrated. As we went throughout the season. As far as the wins and losses, there might have been some frustration on our process, but not necessarily the outcome. And I try to really be process oriented. So yeah, let us know in the comments. Like if you had a tough season, how did you go about it? How do you judge yourself in that season? Do you think you did terrible as a coach, or do you think you did well as a coach and things didn't work out? But yeah, so glad I could bring this to you. Again, subscribe, like, and share it. hoping to bring some more to you. And thank you so much for everyone that's joined thus far. Want to try to continue to get more drills out to you. We've had some that have been really good and been really popular with you. As you go into AAU season, amen, just coach them up and, hopefully, be positive with how you coach them, but hold them to a high standard. Players today, I think they want to be held to a high standard. Hold them to a high standard. You don't have to be demeaning to do that. Like, you can demand things out of them without being demeaning, and do that. And make sure they understand that the exposure could expose you, right? And so as you go into AAU, really develop them. Don't just show up to tournaments. Develop them and train them so that when they get that exposure, they're ready to do some great things. All right, until next time, this is Durante Polite and the Polite Way Basketball Channel. Have a good one.